to Waltham Abbey, Costell, Essex. Big back and bicep session coming up today with Neale Cranwell, who's a great top level bodybuilder, superb trainer. We trained with him last year, actually looked today, 10 months ago. I had a mental session then, so I'm slightly scared because I know this is going to be pretty intense. I feel a bit tired from in the car, so I'm going to have to man up, get the man up tilt out and get ready to go. So big session coming, we'll pop in there now and go see Neale.
Mama told me.
Just finished big back bicep session in Krunch Gym with Neale, so thank you very much.
How you doing?
Yeah. Where do we start? We start on T-bar row.
Yeah, so I got the guys to start on the T-bar row, and we done it as a superset, starting with a wide grip to work like the upper back, and then moved into a close grip to really focus on your lower lats. The particular movement we use is a Cybex movement, and you can load the back of it, so it keeps a constant tension on, and I think you felt it.
Yeah, really, like lower lats fighting really strong on that, which for me, I struggle to try and target from upper back, trying to combine pretty much everything. As soon as it goes like narrow grip, you literally feel the lower lats fighting to me.
I mean, that's got a great angle, so not every T-bars is good. But because they're fired, I like to take that further, because most bodybuilders have got decent backs or decent lats, and not lower down.
Yeah.
And so when we went onto a seated cable, but we sat slightly different. You've got to lighten the load in order to really sit forward. And that sitting forward arch position just engages your lower lats. And I think you guys felt that almost like a back extension, almost right.
It's like a Christmas tree effect.
Yeah, and that's what you've got to think about when you're doing that movement. That you're pulling back with the elbows, you're trying to squeeze that Christmas tree out, like really arch into it and accentuate the movement, and that brings it through. And often you'll see when people do that row that they start to arch back, they start to like concave the other way rather than stay arched. And
they let the tension off to roll in.
Exactly, and then the shoulders and the biceps pull the movement about. So with that, you'll find by leaning forward, as soon as you can't get it, you'll start to sit upright, and you'll know that you're losing the form. So it's easy to keep on point, and it works really well when you follow like more of a commercial, big compound movement like the T-bar row. So now there's a lot of work done in your lower lat, so I wanted to kind of stretch that out from there, and we went on to a reverse hammer pull down. So I think with back training you've got to change your hand grips. So we've had overhand, we've had close, now we've got an underhand grip from a pull down movement, and that'll really stretch out the lats. But with that, we sort of changed it around by keeping the tension on, getting you guys to do 1 1/4 reps, so you get a double contraction.
Trying to get that second contraction down is really almost like drive down to lower lat a lot again. Really trying to focus on that.
I mean, and if you watch the form there, his form's impeccable on almost everything, which is great to see. But
it's improved a lot.
It has improved a lot since we last trained. Like your contraction points are held for half a second, and you can see you're pulling with the elbows, and that's a massive coaching point on back. There's a lot of people grip the hell out of the thing, and their forearms pop up. You've got to use these hooks and drive with the elbows. Feel like getting the elbows far back, and you could see that yours come up, and pump up more and more and more. So we took that a little bit further by adding some volume to the workout, and then we done a fill set on the hammer one arm row to enable us to feel the weight out in order to do a 6 times. I think we've done 6 times 5 on that, so a muscle round. And that's where you go from one side to the other, and that feels almost cardiovascular, endurance based, but mentally that's where you need to be. There's 2-3 sets, you're flying along, and then the last 2 or 3 is crazy hard, and that's just sweat on, and I think that's good for people as well when they're trying to amp their metabolism up.
It's just a different stimulus.
Totally different stimulus than the serious old heavy compound stuff. And then from there we went on and took the stretch further by doing that dumbbell pullover with the really straight arms.
Yeah.
So there's a few coaching points on that, and it's basically was you get yourself over a 45-degree bench or 30 degrees and keep them arms really straight, so you're pushing them arms.
That I think is definitely something I implement going forward, because I really like how accurate you always feel that contracting that bottom part of the lat, through the rib cage, opening everything out at the end of the back, working nicely.
Yeah, and if you, I don't know if you got to see that on camera, but Charlie's back just blew up, he almost doubled in sort of width and volume through his back. I mean, that's something I think you should try and implement.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not, like you said there, it's not hard on the nervous system. But we contract in the gym.
Just accurate.
And we don't tend to stretch that much. So we need to find an exercise, I think, that stretches the muscle as well as contracts. But these guys didn't want us to finish there, they got punishment.
Our arms are too small, that's why.
All our arms are too small. But so we put some sort of more interesting exercises in. So I think with arms, I think volume's quite interesting, and that's a way of building up some size in your arms. It's not always about heavy weight, because I think your joints suffer on like heavy swinging, like barbell curls and stuff. So we've done a preacher superset with a standing, and that soon becomes really tiring.
I like the variation between the narrow and the wide standing, works quite nicely.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like with the exercises that you choose when you work out, look at different angles of even just the grip will make a massive difference to how you target the inner or outer head of your bicep, or the width or the thickness of your back.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of probably people go wrong where they just do a straight arm pull down, and they keep overhand grip everything that they do, and then they do barbell curls, and then a straight arm preacher curl, and then a machine with a straight bar. We're just emulating the same exercise, so we try and vary that. And because there was a little bit left in the tank after that, we finished off with another exercise which we done like a muscle rounding, and that was a single arm bicep curl.
I pretty much died after the second set on that, because I did hammer curls.
So there's another way. So where your arms would allow you to carry on in the sort of traditional fashion of doing a curl, rather than stop the set, you can move or go light. You can move it into a hammer position.
Yeah, you extend beyond that.
Extend the set. So they're great people who've been like training for a moderate amount of time or advanced, because it will take the sets further, and you've still got to make that muscle fail. And if there's still points you can push it, then I think you should push it there. And think about hitting that set like a hammer on a bit of dynamite. Yeah. Just try and explode that set rather than think, oh well, let's just do another set because that got hard. I don't think the add up of more sets.
More volume, more intensity at the point of failure rather than doing another set.
I think
that's
so.
half-assed.
Yeah, and I think, but that's hard. Mentally you've got to be in the right.
Yeah, it's pushing yourself.
And I think if you can do that week in, week out consistently, that's the key.
Yeah, you force your body to have to adapt.
Yeah. And how did you find that?
I found the whole session was perfect. It was like, in terms of volume and length, it's about right there. Any more than that, it cooks me completely. So like, it was perfect, bang on. Like, everything was like super accurate. So I was trying to be consciously aware of what I was doing form-wise. And I find like since I do that much more now, probably since we last met, that I have a lot less injury issues, a lot less niggly, like joint feeling pains. Everything was much more accurate, which made a big difference.
Yeah, and we were speaking earlier about that sort of training, and with age you have to kind of slightly adapt it because of the age on the joints and the tendons, and perhaps the years under the bar. You'll have to look at time under tension a little bit more, contracting harder a little bit more to make the muscle work harder without increasing the weight all the time. Although in a strict position you should still increase the weight, but not at the risk of form.
Throwing it and cheating it all the time.
I think when you get older, like 35 onwards, I think you've got to be more conscious, because a little niggle when you're 20 becomes a long-ass months out of the game kind of injury when you get to more right one day.
And that's when you end up going backwards. You end up taking 3-4 months out. You're better off being more sensible and continue without getting injured.
But I think that doesn't. But where people take that the wrong way, they think, well, we'll do everything as slow as possible, the lightest way. Train like pansies. Why did we say it? So you've still got to move the weight, and I think if you can try and stick to barbells and dumbbells, it's hard to train like a pansy, because you've got to be engaged with it. But you can easily do that sitting on machines, and I think the way gyms are these days, Not many people want to lift hard weights and sweat and with
push
barbells.
themselves.
Yeah, so I think if you can remember that and then progress on the loads as you quickly form that, definitely with age is the way to go.
One of the other interesting points I thought you brought up was about controlling your core all the time in the car.
Okay,
I like not in the car all the time, but like just generally being more aware of your posture, like holding your stomach the way you hold yourself makes a big difference. You were saying that almost improved your core definition.
What I actually said was it helped me with my turtle shell.
If you call it that.
So I've always had very strong, like deep abs, but with being.
Was that from training that or genetically?
I think it came originally. I'd done a lot of ab work and like you do when you're sort of teenage or younger.
Trying to pick up girls.
Yeah.
It's from Essex.
So I think the abs and chest, most guys do that, and then as I got stronger and into the core lifts, deadlifts and squats just held it all together. And to be honest, I'm lucky if I train abs like a couple of times in a whole year, because they always stay very fit and lean. But I noticed that with age as well, you get more distended, or things get wider around the middle. And I noticed in the last couple of years, obviously there was a big fad about wearing training belts and girdles and stuff to hold your core in. But I think all that done was make you conscious about you not letting your belly sloppy and not holding yourself properly. So in the last sort of year or two, what I've done is I've not worn them training belts, but I've held myself consciously now. So as I'm sitting in now, I'm actually holding my core in and breathing up. So as if you're like doing like a slight plank really in any seated position. And when you're standing talking to clients or
don't let your gut hang out.
Don't let it hang out. And if you're on camera, that's not a good look. But if sitting in the car, like I said to you earlier, it's the worst. Almost everyone is in a car and if you look down, if your belly's just there, if you held that in for that entire journey, yes, your posture will be better, but it becomes habit. And then that habit, by engaging your core all the time, it's great through exercises because you're going to be in a stronger position. But also, I think it firms up and tightens up your abs and your midsection throughout. And that's something I think that we've become lazy with, again, because machines allow you to just plonk yourself on them.
And think about what you're doing consciously, just...
Yeah, exactly. So I think that if that's your goal, have a really tight midsection, and you're always conscious about holding in tight, not only is that going to make you look better, but if you did get on stage and that was your end goal, what you see on stage where people go wrong is they get tired, so their breathing goes, so their belly sticks out. And if you're used to holding in tight and kind of holding yourself in and up, you breathe from your chest and you don't really blow from your belly. So when you're on stage, even if you get shattered because you're unfit, because you haven't practiced, your belly should still stay fairly tight and shouldn't be out of control. And that can change you from first to third place. But in day-to-day life, it'll always make you look better.
Yeah, it's the end goal.
For most.
Cool. So thank you very much, Neil. Awesome session.
No
Hope to get you all soon.
Yeah, take care.